What's up, guys? Welcome to the Lonely Bones Podcast. I think that's what I'm gonna call it. That's what we're calling it for now. We'll retcon it later and change the name if we don't like it, or if it's off-brand. I'm not sure, but for now, that's what we're calling it. Welcome to the Lonely Bones Podcast. I'm Karl, also known as Transmortal. You probably have heard of me. I'm kind of a big deal. Just kidding. But if you made it this far, you probably at least know you're on my channel, Transmortal Plays, or know that I do art under the name Transmortal. So, yeah, you probably know what you're getting yourself into. But I decided to make this podcast because I kind of wanted to collect my thoughts over things at the end of the week or at the beginning of a week, and just kind of have a weekly journal for myself so I can really think about things and talk about them and get my thoughts out. So later on in life, I can go back and look at them and think, wow, that's where my head was at. That's pretty cool. I was going to have a guest on this episode, but just kind of ran short on time. Wasn't able to get him on, unfortunately. Plans, schedules not aligning up. But I will have him on in the future. It'll be great. We'll just talk about something else. But I really wanted to get the E3 one out as quickly as possible because E3 just happened and we got to talk about E3. E3 is the best time of year. It's like Christmas. A lot of people say it's like Christmas, but it's awesome. I love E3. It's always exciting. You never know what's going to happen. I just want to get this out of the way because everybody's talking about it on the internet. It's already turning into a meme. So I don't want to spend half my podcast gushing about it because everybody's already gushing about it. Keanu Reeves coming out on stage for Cyberpunk. Hands down, one of the coolest moments of any E3 I've ever watched. And I was already excited for Cyberpunk immensely. And now I'm even more so. Super cool. Can't wait. Probably my favorite moment of E3. Just wanted to get that elephant out of the room, out of the way. Now we can move on to the other stuff. Wow! Okay, it's gonna be great. So I'm gonna go conference by conference because that'll just keep me a little more organized. I took notes all throughout E3 anytime there was a conference, just making sure I remembered things I wanted to talk about. Because there were a lot of cool things that happened. And there were a lot of really stupid things that happened too. So I would love to talk a little bit about both of them. It'll be really fun. So first off, Microsoft just destroyed this year. So cool. They definitely made up for the lack of Sony not being there, shall we say? Because Sony, for those who didn't know or didn't watch E3, Sony, who is in charge of PlayStation, didn't come to E3 this year. So they didn't have a big conference. They didn't have big reveals. For a lot of people, it was kind of a big deal because there's kind of a little console war usually between Microsoft with Xbox and Sony with PlayStation. A big rivalry sort of thing, not like mean and contentious amongst the companies, certainly amongst the fans, but yeah, it's really stupid. But Sony wasn't there, so it's kind of weird. There was like leading up to it, people feeling like there would be a void at E3, and I definitely feel like Microsoft filled it. They had a lot of cool things to show, such as Cyberpunk with Keanu, and a bunch of little cool things. They showed they're making a Minecraft dungeon crawler, so like Minecraft Diablo. What a cool idea. Since Microsoft owns Minecraft now, it's really neat that they're doing new things with the property other than just adding on to the game. I'm very excited that that is a thing that's happening. I know I won't play it, but I'm not really a big fan of dungeon crawlers, but I know a lot of people who are, and that's super cool. I'm really, really excited about that. They also acquired a company. So Microsoft basically bought Double Fine, who made a bunch of cool games. One called Psychonauts that is kind of a big deal. A lot of people really love it. I have not played it myself. I've seen the gameplay. It's super cool. Certainly a game I would like to play. But yeah, those are such cool things to show off. Plus, you know, they teased their new console that they're working on, Project Scarlet. It was all just a bunch of buzzwords that they threw out and a bunch of technical specifics. So for somebody who's very like visual and hands-on, them just talking about all this stuff about Scarlet didn't really, I don't want to say it didn't impress me, but it didn't like, I just sat there like, what? I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but that's super cool that it's on the way. But let me talk about some things that I personally was super excited about at the Microsoft conference, because man, there were plenty of things. First of all, I thought it was hilarious. A guy named Matt Booty came out and talked about some stuff, and man, I had to hold back my laughter because I was at work watching it with coworkers, and I didn't want to be like, Matt Booty, bros. Wow. But yeah, it was really funny. First thing that really caught my eye, other than Cyberpunk, they're doing a Blair Witch game. I seem to get the idea that it was announced before, because I told my friend about it, and he was like, yeah, I know about that game. It's coming out very soon. And I was like, oh, wow. Well, news to me. But anyway, it looks awesome. I'm not going to play it. I don't do scary stuff very well, but I can't wait to watch somebody else play it, because, man, it looks like just a very finely crafted horror game. And I find the genre of horror impressive. I find it fascinating. I just hate experiencing it personally. I'm really easily like stressed out by those kind of things, and it really is not good for me. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not good for me, but it's just one of those things where I try and watch a horror movie or try and play a horror game, and something will pop out and scare me, as it is intending to do. And then I will like pause it and freak out and be like, okay, well, that was cool now that I've wound down, but I don't know if I can do that again. I'll come back to that later when I'm a little bit less jumpy, so to speak. And I never am, so I just never come back to it. It's kind of a disappointment, because I would really love to experience what these cool things you're trying to do, but I just never come back to it. So that's unfortunate. Another really cool thing that I was really, really excited about, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as some of you may know, and I'm a huge fan of the Lego Star Wars series. Lego Star Wars is one of the first games I felt was made for me. It came out at a time where I was really young, probably like, I don't know when it came out, very early 2000s, so I was probably, around like 11 or 12, really young. And I didn't play a lot of violent video games, obviously, because I was a little young for it. And all the Star Wars games out at the time weren't really violent, no more violent than the movies, but definitely something that you should think twice about your 11-year-old playing. They had things like Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and Republic Commando, and things like that. And just the fact that Lego Star Wars came out and it was kid friendly, and I loved Legos, I loved Star Wars, and you could play 2 players, so I could play with my sister. When I saw that game and when I got it, I felt like, I don't know, someone heard me, and I was like, they made a game for me, and it was a very magical thing. So I've kind of just loved the Lego Star Wars series ever since I was a kid, and just the idea that we're going to get a new really awesome Lego Star Wars game really makes me happy. It's going to have it's basically going to be the complete saga, but now including Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, which is awesome. So excited. I'm a huge fan of the sequel trilogy. I know a lot of people aren't. A lot of people hated Last Jedi. A lot of people thought Force Awakens was just A New Hope all over again, but I'm a huge fan of the sequel trilogy, and they can go I don't know, jump in a hole or die or something. I don't care. Just kidding, don't die. But moving on, Elden Ring, super cool. It's a new game by the director of Dark Souls. Miyazaki is his last name though, or his surname. They usually say it first in Japan, but he is making a game collaborating with George R.R. Martin, who, if you're not familiar with it, is the author and creator of Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is pretty cool, really big fantasy world. Super cool. The grand scale and scope of a fantasy world created by the guy who made Dark Souls and the guy who made Game of Thrones coming together, that can only be crazy and amazing and really dark. It's probably going to be really intense. It's probably going to be very disturbing because Game of Thrones is definitely not for the faint of heart. It's got a lot of stuff in there. Evil's really evil. We'll just say that. Evil is very evil. And some of the good is kind of evil. So it's not really a friendly world. That's for sure. And neither is Dark Souls. So them coming together could be really, really... what a gloomy look at fantasy. And honestly, that's kind of exciting to me. Another great thing that I would like to talk about is what we all were hoping they would talk about at Microsoft. Halo Infinite. It's going to launch on the Project Scarlet, so whatever the next Xbox is, but I'm sure they'll probably do it at the tail end of Xbox One as well. It's also going to be on PC for those who play on PC. Super exciting. They showed a little cutscene trailer. Chief is back in armor. Looks like classic Halo. So far, there's actually a Halo, which is really cool. That's something I was a little confused about in Halo 4. I didn't play Halo 5 because I'm a fake fan and I'm a poser. But I was really confused in Halo 4 that it was still called Halo even though there was not a Halo in sight. They were on technology that was the same that the people who made the Halos made, but there were no Halos in Halo 4. So I was kind of confused, like, why is this called Halo? Because I just don't get it. It was kind of weird. But Halo's back. Master Chief is back. Halos are back in Halo, if that makes any sense. And I'm really excited. I can't wait to play. I love Halo. It's one of my all-time favorite nostalgic titles. So cool. That's really all I have to say about Microsoft. So let's move on to another topic. Let's talk about something I actually hated. Devolver, the PC show. Devolver and the PC gaming show. Both were really underwhelming. They were very just small indie stuff. Nothing huge to show off. Just a lot of games that, I don't know. There's a lot of issues I have with the easy indie community. I feel like I feel like a lot of indie developers just want to make like roguelike retro style games and that's it. Like bam, bam, bam. It's like we've seen it all before. I just hit my desk and it hurt. But we've seen it all before, and I don't know why indie developers aren't trying to like push their skills and make games that are bigger and better. Like, try and make the games that you wish the AAA market were making, not like, all right, here's your little pixel art dude. He died, now you're a new pixel art dude. Go through dungeons just like Legend of Zelda. Why are so many indie games like that? I don't get it. But Devolver showed some cool ones. There was a game, My Friend Pedro. That game looks fun. And another one called Carrion. That looked really cool. But PC Gamer Show, I honestly just could not stay focused during it. They were just showing a bunch of cool stuff. Chivalry 2 is pretty neat, but yeah. Wanted to get those out of the way. I was not impressed. Also, Devolver tried a little too hard to be funny. They did like a fake Nintendo Direct almost, but a Devolver Direct, and it was a little too, we're trying to be Tim and Eric, but not doing it right. And it was just a little forced. It felt, I don't know. I even saw people in the chat, because I was watching the live streams, saying, just show us games. And it was really funny. That was easily the worst of E3. Devolver. No offense to Devolver. It's just, I wanted to see games, not your Tim and Eric skit. But let's move on to a big name. Bethesda. Bethesda's great. Bethesda made Skyrim. Bethesda made Fallout. Everybody loves those games, right? They also made Fallout 76, which apparently nobody likes. Which brings me to my first thing that I really noticed about Bethesda that I thought was super cool. They listen. And they know. They opened up talking about listening to the community and making changes because of it. And they legit were saying like, you guys have really challenged us to push forward and be better, and just made this like subtle cut to people talking at a Fallout 76 panel. It wasn't like silly and jokey about it, but I feel like it was a subtle nod to be like, yo, we hear what you don't like about the game and we're working on it and we're fixing it. Super cool. That being said, Todd Howard straight comes out. Good old Todd Howard. He comes out and he's like, it's been an exciting year for Bethesda. So exciting that we're kind of shocked that you're still here. Acknowledging that they did a bad thing with Fallout 76, at least in the eyes of the community. I don't really think they did that bad of a job. But he came out and acknowledged, and he said that their criticism was well-deserved and that they're fixing it. And immediately they showed off all the new stuff they're doing for Fallout 76. Super cool. They're adding in NPCs, a quest line, dialogue trees. Super, super cool. That's what everybody wanted in Fallout 76 from the beginning. That's what everybody complained about. So it's finally in. Also, Battle Royale is in. I know a lot of people think Battle Royale is a trend and is the plague to the gaming industry right now, but it's just a game mode and you don't have to play it. So that's kind of cool that it's in there. I don't know. I think it's really neat that they added it in for people who do want to play it, especially something like Fallout. I feel like games that lend themselves to exploring a big map and finding cooler weapons are the ones that need to be playing Battle Royale. So like, for instance, I honestly feel like the way Halo multiplayer has always been set up, like Halo needs a Battle Royale, and Fallout 76 could probably have a really cool Battle Royale. Battle Royale's fine. Don't complain about it. Don't read Reddit posts and be like, oh, Battle Royale's a plague to the gaming industry. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Anyways, we're done talking about that, or else I'm going to go on a rant. Next cool game that I was really excited about was Ghostwire. I wasn't excited about it initially because Bethesda published Evil Within, which is a really, really cool psychological horror thriller-esque game made by Shinji Mikami, or Shinji Mikami. I don't know how you pronounce it or enunciate it. The original creator of Resident Evil. He's really cool. And I really, really love the Evil Within. So imagine my slight disappointment when Shinji Mikami comes out on stage at Bethesda and doesn't talk about Evil Within. I was a little bummed, but the trailer he showed for his new game, or a new game made at his studio, Ghostwire, it looks really, really cool. Really, really just ethereal and weird. It's a supernatural thriller, as he said. I can't wait to see more about that game. It looks awesome. I'm on board. I'll just say that. Next game that caught my eye was Deathloop. Very, very cool. Made by the same studio that made Dishonored. I'm a huge fan of Dishonored. Whatever year that came out. I think it was 2013. That was like my favorite game that came out that year. Hands down. Dishonored is so fun. Love it. But that studio is making a new game called Deathloop, where two highly trained assassins are caught in almost a weird time loop thing where they're in this weird world, and the guy either has to kill the girl to stop the loop, or she has to keep killing him in order to keep the loop going, or something like that. They didn't reveal a lot of the story. They just showed a really cool cinematic trailer, but it looks awesome. There's a lot of Hitchcock vibes to it. It's very like old, late 60s, early 70s classic movie feeling in the way it presented itself. I don't know. It just felt like something you would turn on in the mid-afternoon of Turner Classic Movies and be like, whoa, what's going on here? And I'm excited. It looks awesome. Plus, I love Dishonored, so same studio. I know the gameplay will probably be cool too. I know a lot of people weren't too pleased with Prey, which they also made, but I've got my eyes on Deathloop, and I think it might be cool. The thing I went into Bethesda's conference hoping for, they showed off, and of course gave a firm release date for. I don't remember what it is at this time. Doom Eternal. Doom in 2016 was one of my favorite games ever made. Possibly my all-time favorite shooter at this point. So fun. And Doom Eternal is the proper sequel to that, coming out. When is it coming out? I'll look that up later. I don't want to do that in the podcast. But anyway, Doom Eternal's coming out. Looks really cool. Bigger, better, kind of crazy. I almost wish I hadn't watched the reveal, to be quite honest. It's kind of weird. I don't know what it is. Just things in the trailer that they showed. I know I'll enjoy it when I play it, but there's things they took out of the game that I'm a little bummed out. They don't have Snap Map, which was the custom map creator. I don't know if that ever took off. I don't know if a lot of people were a fan of it. I certainly was, but I'm just one person, so what does that matter? I'm a little bummed out that they took out Snap Map and traditional multiplayer. So multiplayer, they just had Doom like Team Deathmatch and stuff like that. And it didn't feel like old Doom multiplayer. Didn't feel like, that kind of like Quake style, zipping around kind of thing. So we don't have that anymore in Doom. We have a weird, like, one Doom Slayer, which is the main character of the game, the Doom guy, if you will, fighting off the two demons that are other players. So it's like 1-on-2 multiplayer matches, which, I don't know, I don't see the longevity in that. But that could just be me. It could blow up. It could be really cool. And then it could be the next Battle Royale trend and everybody is doing that in their games. Who knows? I have no idea. I'm not a big multiplayer guy, so I'm the last person who even needs to voice his opinion on this sort of thing. But I was a little bummed out about those things. There was a line in a trailer like, humans are not the Doom guy's people to save anymore. And if he continues fighting for them, he's going to bring down the reign of heaven or something like that. And just theologically, me being the good Christian boy that I am, I don't really want Doom Guy to oppose heaven and hell. Like, that was one of my favorite things about the first Doom. Doom Guy just hates hell and hates demons so much. And he's just going on this blazing, revenge-filled rampage, just killing everything in hell he can. And it's so cool. And I don't want to be killing angels and stuff as well. Like, I don't know. Doom Guy doesn't have to be God's best friend. He doesn't have to be like buddy with Jesus. I don't care. Like, I get it. But I don't really want him to be enemies with him either. But that's just me. I'm sure I'll play the game. And I'm sure it'll be like Devil May Cry and every other video game where the theology and the mythology are so like intertwined to where it's not even close to the way actual hell and heaven is, to where it really won't matter. It really won't be that big a deal. It's just all fantasy, and it's their take on what they think could be cool in a fantasy setting using things. It's nothing to get upset over. It really isn't. But anyway, that's really all I had to talk about when it comes to Bethesda. I'll be honest, they showed a lot of little things. They showed a lot of like Elder Scrolls Online, Commander Keen mobile game stuff that I was really underwhelmed by, just because that's not my thing. So overall, Bethesda was kind of, I hate to say, disappointing to me. But yeah, speaking of disappointing, let's talk about Ubisoft's conference. They started off super serious, which is unusual for Ubisoft, with an actual orchestra playing Assassin's Creed music, which was really cool. And then immediately, I thought they were going to drop, some news about the next Assassin's Creed, which I was really excited about. I don't like Assassin's Creed that much, but I was really excited because I hear this next one's going to be a lot like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, a big open world RPG that your choices matter, all that thing, but Viking, which I was super excited for. And then they revealed that they're going to go around and do like a symphony orchestra world tour. And I don't know. That just doesn't seem like something that's worthy of announcing at E3. I thought that was kind of silly. I was a little disappointed. But anyway, moving on to something cool that they showed off. Let me tell you. They announced Watch Dogs Legion, which is an all-new Watch Dogs game. Super cool, super awesome. Post-Brexit London, so everything's chaos in that world. I don't live anywhere near the UK, and I don't know anything about their politics, so I have no idea what anything means when they talk about Brexit, because I'm an uncultured idiot. But apparently, from the take of this game, they seem to think it's a really big deal, because the world is just in chaos in London. And the cool thing about this one, though, gameplay-wise, is as opposed to playing one character like you did in Watch Dogs 1 and 2, with a cast of cool side characters that help you out, it's a lot closer to something like the Xbox zombie game that came out, State of Decay. So there's a bunch of NPCs that have their own character traits and personalities woven into them, and you can recruit them, and you play as them, and if they die, it's permadeath, and you have to move on to someone else. That's really cool! So any NPC you can see in the game, you can recruit and have join you. And that's really neat. That's so cool. Another cool thing that I thought about this game, something that I didn't really like about Watch Dogs 2, was you're in like LA or something, and you're basically trying to fight Google. So it's all this social commentary about big corporations getting your data and selling it to other people. And with that, I didn't really feel like using guns was fair, I guess, because it's just people sitting in offices giving other people information, big data kind of stuff, and that you don't deserve to be killed for that. So it plays very much like a Grand Theft Auto type game, so I kind of felt awkward playing it. I went through the whole game with just the stupid stun pistol, and it's not fun when you're playing with just a stupid stun pistol. I'm just gonna say it. If you're trying to play through an entire game that's built around getting all these cool upgrades and weapons, and you're using nothing but the starter stun pistol they give you in the first level, it's not fun. And in this new Watch Dogs, the world has just gone nuts. There's people, human trafficking, people killing each other. So using guns feels justified. And that's really cool. A welcome change, in my opinion. I like it. Really neat. They're adding Adventure Time into Brawlhalla. Neat. I have never played that game and probably will never play it, but I love Adventure Time, so I'm glad to see them. Ubisoft was pretty underwhelming. They showed a lot of mobile game stuff and a lot of things that I wasn't too excited about, but some things that I did get really excited about was John Bernthal coming out on stage with his dog and talking about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. That game looks really fun, and it's co-op, so I'm probably going to have a great time playing with my friends. I don't really need much convincing with that game, and I don't really need to be much more excited. I'm already excited. That game looks cool. Can't wait. It'll be great. Something I was blown away by was Rainbow Six Siege Quarantine. This past season of Rainbow Six Siege, I guess Burnt Horizon, my friend got me into Rainbow Six Siege, and I basically played all through Burnt Horizon season, and now Phantom Sight just started like 3 days ago. Really fun. I'm a big fan. One of the few multiplayer competitive games that I feel competent at, so to speak, and can have a good time in playing. So, big fan of Rainbow Six Siege, and Rainbow Six Quarantine is a new game using kind of the engine of Siege, I guess, and the gameplay of it, but bringing it into a but a co-op story mode game, which I think is super awesome. It's not a zombie game. It's like a disease parasite kind of game, but it seems a little Left 4 Dead-ish in the vibe they're going for, and I'm excited. I can't wait to play. A weird thing that I thought I should bring up. I've never played a Just Dance game in my life. I've never particularly liked Just Dance. I don't dislike it, but it's just not my thing. I don't really dance, so dancing games aren't for me. They showed this trailer for Just Dance that I thought was kind of silly, but kind of cute, whatever. And then they came out and danced, and they're like, 10 years of Just Dance. We've been here for 10 years. We've been making games. And I got really emotional at that. I have no idea why, but yeah, it happened. And I'm not ashamed to say it, but Just Dance 2020 made me a little emotional, and I don't know why. I'm not going to get it. I'm never going to play it, but it made me emotional, so I thought that was worth noting. They talked a lot about Division 2, which I have no interest in. They talked a lot about this dumb-looking Rocket League, Overwatch mashup-looking game. There was way too much in Ubisoft's conference that I was like about to fall asleep through for me to really love that conference. It was the weakest of the bigger ones, I'd say. Devolver I'm not going to count because they're a smaller company, but it was pretty underwhelming. So let's talk about something that a bunch of people were excited about hearing about. Square Enix. Right off the bat, they started talking about the Final Fantasy VII remake, which a lot of people have been just like chomping at the bit to get. Super excited. So excited. That game looks amazing. I've always wanted to play Final Fantasy VII. I have it, but I got stressed out because very early on in the game, there's a bomb ticking down and there's a time limit that you have to do something in that time limit. It stressed me out so much, I just stopped playing and I never came back to it, much like I do with many horror games. So I've never had the experience of really getting to play Final Fantasy VII. And now that they're remaking it, pretty graphics, all new gameplay style, it just looks awesome. I can't wait. I'm definitely getting that and I'm definitely going to play it. Man, I'm so excited because I watched the Advent Children movie a lot and I always really enjoyed it, even though I had no idea what was going on. So even though I've never played the game, I feel a very fond attachment and connection to the characters themselves, which that's kind of what makes Final Fantasy great. It's about the cool, memorable characters. So like, I love Cloud, I love Tifa, I love Vincent Valentine, you know. I love all those characters, and Sephiroth is super cool, like, but I've just never played the game. I've only watched that movie. So I'm really excited to get to experience like where they originally come from, but new and fresh and probably a little bit more intuitive for somebody who didn't grow up playing games like that. So I'm excited. Another thing, honestly, I hate to say it, but that was about the only thing at Square's conference that I was really impressed by. They didn't show too much. Well, I take that back. There were two things, which we'll get to, and they're kind of obvious, but they spent a lot of time talking about like old JRPGs, which are neat, just ports to the Switch or ports to consoles or ports to PC, like Octopath is coming to PC, which is really neat. And those were just games. I'm like, these games have been out forever. This isn't something that's really cool to announce at E3. But that might just be me. Like, I'm sure people who love JRPGs and games like that are super excited about all that. So that's really cool for them, I guess. I want to talk a little bit about that awkward Kingdom Hearts DLC. So ridiculous. Like, I don't know. They just are showing this cutscene for Kingdom Hearts, playing this music, and the characters are talking, moving their mouths, but there's no voice. Like, have they not voice acted it yet? Like, I don't know, but they just put up this awkward, like, music video type typography while they're talking. And there's just music and them moving their mouths and like this huge, like, banner of text for what they're saying popping up by them. Like, what on earth? That was the most awkward trailer I've seen. I don't know. I bet if I was a Kingdom Hearts fan, I might be excited. Maybe I wouldn't, because the Kingdom Hearts fans that I've talked to who played Kingdom Hearts 3 certainly weren't too impressed by it, which is unfortunate. But a cool thing they showed off that I was actually super excited about is this new game, Outriders. This new shooter they're doing by the same people who made Bulletstorm. They're making a new co-op shooter, super dark, super post-apocalyptic, a lot of like magic power elements in it. I don't know, something really neat. They didn't show too much, just a trailer, told us a little bit about it, but that's really neat. I'm excited. I can't wait to play that because I mostly play games now with my friend Logan and Andrew, so they said that it'll be 3-player co-op. So there's me, Logan, and Andrew right there if we all get it, and that'll be something really fun to experience. I can't wait. Now, the big reveal, probably one of the things I was most excited about, the Avengers game. Super cool. Can't wait. That game looks amazing. They only showed like a trailer, I think little snippets of gameplay woven into the trailer, but looks really fun. Like, man, we haven't gotten a good Marvel game in a long time other than Spider-Man, of course. Spider-Man's great. But they just haven't focused on video games regarding like superheroes and stuff since movie property type things really spoiled it for people. Like Arkham showed them that we can do it well again, and then Spider-Man really drove the point home, and now we're finally starting to get good superhero video games again, and that's really awesome. And Avengers looks just like that. Super excited. Hope that they kill it. Hope they knock it out the park with it. Looks fun. I don't like the character designs. I've actually seen a lot of people online saying the same thing, but the company is already listening to community feedback and being like, yo, we hear you. We're working on it. So hopefully they'll give them a nice little makeover, I guess. I don't know. If the game's fun and it plays well, I don't care what the characters look like. That's the last thing I'd be concerned about. The game looks great, regardless of how the characters look, but I'm excited that they're listening to the community and might make them look better. You know, that's great. Can't go wrong with that. But the final conference that I wanted to talk about. How can we forget Nintendo? The reason many of us were watching. Nintendo's great, and boy, did they have a lot of cool stuff to show. Starting off, Luigi's Mansion 3. How cool. Luigi's Mansion is a very nostalgic title to me. I remember playing with my cousin. We would like hide under blankets and play that in the like basement of his house and like get spooked, you know? Like, it's not a scary game, but we were like, ooh, spooky ghosts, you know? It's such a fun game. It's just the right kind of like Halloween spirit. And this new Luigi's Mansion is in a big hotel, which gives me kind of Shining vibes. Hope there's twin ghosts somewhere in it. I just really want that. I really want there to be little shining ghosts, like somewhere. I don't know. Just a little nod somewhere in that hotel. I want there to be 2 twin little girls, and that's it. But yeah, Luigi's Mansion looks awesome. I didn't need any convincing with that. It's Luigi's Mansion. It's gonna be great. That's just a fact. Huge for me. Probably nobody else cared because everybody I talked to other than my boss at work has no idea what the Dark Crystal is. They're stupid, uncultured swine. Go watch the movie. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. I guarantee when the new Netflix series that they're putting out, Age of Resistance, comes out, everybody's going to hop on the Dark Crystal bandwagon and everybody's going to be like, oh, Dark Crystal's the best. But anyway, they're doing a Dark Crystal Tactics game. That's really neat. It looks a lot like that Mario Rabbids type of strategy gameplay. XCOM kind of Advanced Wars strategy gameplay. It's really cool, but it's gonna be tied into the new show, or at least use the same characters. Really neat. I'm a big Dark Crystal fan. It's one of the movies that really influenced my art style and the way I like fantasy things to be, I guess. So super cool. I'm really excited that they're just doing cool stuff with Dark Crystal now. I cannot wait for the new show. I'll definitely pick up that game just to show my love for Dark Crystal. I'll probably play it too, but I don't know. I just want Dark Crystal to be alive and thriving because I love it. Huge news. The Witcher 3 is coming to the Switch. That's awesome. Can't wait. Just the other day, I wanted to play The Witcher, and I didn't want to play it sitting at my computer, and I have no idea where my computer controller is. I just wanted to go chill and, relax in my bed, but I wanted to play The Witcher. Now I can when it comes out on the Switch. That's exciting. I can't wait. Definitely buying that day one. And it will hold me over until Animal Crossing comes out. The thing I went into the Nintendo Direct hoping to see. They showed it. Unfortunately, it was slated to come out this year. They had to push it back to March of next year. But it's okay. They showed me some gameplay. They showed me the art style. Art style is amazing. I love it. A lot better than the 3DS version, which I'm not too big of a fan of the art style of. Love it. I can't wait. It's going to be so good. And I can wait a little bit longer for Animal Crossing and Cyberpunk, because I know when they come out, I'm never going to play another game in my life. So I'm excited. Can't wait. You go to like a deserted island in this new Animal Crossing and you basically turn it into a town from the looks of things. You like build on that island. You go like, I don't know, clean it up and turn it into something respectable. And that's really neat. Of course, my boy Tom Nook is there. I'm really hoping you can at least get a museum, and Blathers and Isabelle and all of them will still be there. I want my classic characters to still be there, and I'm sure they will. Animal Crossing never disappoints. They always, I don't know, keep their characters that are memorable, somewhere. So you can see them and be like, oh, it's them, from the looks of things, just from the couple that I've played. So I'm excited. But moving on to some other cool things that they talked about. They're putting Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. That's really neat. I'm not as excited about Banjo-Kazooie being in Smash as I am excited about the fact that Nintendo is allowed to use him in Smash, and that they as an industry haven't forgotten that he exists. So for Banjo-Kazooie fans out there, that gives us a little hope. I'm not a big fan, I've never played it, but that gives all of us a little bit of hope that maybe we'll get a new Banjo-Kazooie game eventually. That's something exciting to think about. It's weird because Banjo-Kazooie is Rare. Rare is owned by Microsoft, but in the past couple of years, Microsoft and Nintendo kind of got buddy-buddy about the whole thing. There's even talks of Game Pass being on the Switch. You can log into your Microsoft account on Minecraft on the Switch so you can crossplay. Like, Nintendo is very welcoming Microsoft with open arms, shall we say. And since Microsoft owns Rare, which owns Banjo-Kazooie, that could be really cool eventually. I don't know. But yeah. Let's move on to the next big thing, which I can't go a full 10 minutes without seeing anything about on any social media platform I browse. Breath of the Wild sequel. How cool is that? It's completely new. Like, I don't know. This is new for Zelda. So if for some reason you're not very familiar with the way The Legend of Zelda constructs itself as a series, each game has always kind of been its own isolated thing in the timeline, and it's always about Link and Ganon reincarnating themselves, and there's not usually direct sequels. The only direct sequels I can ever think of have been on handheld. So like, Wind Waker has Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, and A Link to the Past has A Link Between Worlds, which are handheld games. Those are direct sequels, so to say. But as far as main console Zelda goes, we've never really gotten a direct sequel, as far as I know. I don't know. It's certainly not usual, but Breath of the Wild is getting a direct sequel. That's nuts. They're just moving forward in the timeline with the same characters we already know and love, and that's awesome. Because Breath of the Wild is one of the best, not just one of the best Zelda games I've ever played, one of the best games I've ever played. It's so good. It's the only Zelda that's ever held my attention to the end, and it's the only one I've ever beat. So I've always gotten super close with all the others. I get distracted and just never finish them, but it's nuts. They're making a direct sequel. That's crazy, and it makes sense. And another great thing, here's a little nerdy lore for you. We get an all-new villain, probably, because at the end of Breath of the Wild, if you haven't beaten Breath of the Wild and you want to beat it and you want to play it, I don't know, fast forward or click off the podcast now or cover your ears, something. But at the end of Breath of the Wild, Ganon, who's been the villain since 1986, gave up his power to reincarnate himself because he used his pure spite to give up that power to make himself more powerful because he wanted to defeat Link. He doesn't. You beat him anyway because he's stupid. But Ganon can't reincarnate anymore. So moving forward in the timeline, Ganon can't come back. Like, he's gone for good, I think, hopefully. Which means moving forward, a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild means we'll start to get all new, interesting, creative new villains. Not that Ganon isn't cool, but like, come on guys, it's time to mix things up. And it looks like Nintendo feels the same way. And that's super exciting. I cannot wait. as long as they took to make Breath of the Wild, saying a game is now in development could be years before we see it, but let me tell you, I'll be there for it when it comes out, hopefully, if I'm not dead, or if the whole world hasn't died, I don't know. But if I'm alive, if we're all alive, if Nintendo's still in business and the game comes out when it comes out, I'll be there for it. I can't wait. It'll be a great time. That's really the coolest things that I have to talk about from E3. Oh, of course, we can't forget Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order looks amazing. They showed that before E3, technically, at an EA conference, like the day before E3. They showed some gameplay. Looks amazing. I don't really know what else to say about it, except the fact that I'm super excited. Can't wait to play that. But yeah, as far as the big E3 and surrounding E3 announcements go, that's really all I have to say. But yeah, thank you for listening to this podcast, guys. I really appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning of it, even if nobody's listening, this is just a place for me to collect my thoughts, get my words out, so I can, almost like a journal, but you guys can share in that journal. It's not going to be like a private journal that, don't read my diary. It's not going to be like that. But yeah, I just want a place to put out my thoughts, and I just want to create content. So I want to put that out there as well. I have an urge to create and upload and share. So here's some of that creation, uploading, and sharing for you to be a part of as well. If you like the podcast, if you like my gameplay videos, be sure to subscribe and all that. Maybe turn on notifications. If you don't want to do that, just follow my Twitter. I'll post the stuff when I share it as well. That way you can stay connected, stay in the loop, know what's going on. It'll be great. But yeah, this has been the Lonely Bones Podcast, and I've had a great time, and I hope you've had a great time too. I'm going to upload these once a week, probably, and they're going to kind of recap about maybe something cool that happened that week or just a cool topic that I wanted to talk about. But normally these will probably be a little bit shorter because most of the time it's going to be just me talking. So they're probably going to range 20, 30 minutes, that area, maybe a little bit longer for something special like this. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. But yeah, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for listening again. Hope to see you in future ones. And that's it. I have no idea how to end these things, so thanks for listening. Bye.